I'm Mark Peddlety. I'm in Communication Studies, and I'm a professor there and Director of Graduate Studies.
I'm Joy Hamilton. I'm a PhD student in Communication Studies.
The course is environmental communication, and so it's a group of students, mainly seniors, that as the main focus for the course, since landscape is a medium, we created this rain garden and used it in a number of ways to be able to educate the community and communicate ideas about water conservation, soil conservation, and rain gardens. The course that did this is Communication 5250, Environmental Communication, and it's existed in the classroom and using the campus as a laboratory. But starting this spring, 2016, it will be an online course where students will choose a public land site. Could be a campus university, of a university. It could be a state park, a national park, a park down the street. They will choose a site and they will create their own interpretive talk around a site such as this to think about what are the major issues there and what can they do with that site that they care about.
So what inspired this project is having students learn by doing. So I was a student in Mark's environmental communication class, and rather than just staying in the classroom and learning about environmental communication there, we as a class did the project to implement this rain garden on campus. So we went through all the steps to do that, including promoting it, letting people know about it in the community, coming out here for I think 9-10 hours to plan it on the actual day, and making sure the campus knew what we were doing, but also connecting the class concepts and theories to something we were specifically doing actually on campus in the real world, if you will.
Also, different students got in different groups. For example, one was the education group. They put up various posters around Rapson explaining to people how a rain garden works. We also, the next year, Joy TA'd for the course, was a teaching assistant. And we used this as the end focal point for a day's festivities where we had music and information, and students all presented environmental campaigns of various sorts of their own choosing throughout the campus, all culminating here with a group that dealt with rain gardens. I actually came to facilities, to Les Potts, and said, hey, I noticed there's these depressions around campus, some of which appear to be started towards rain gardens, some of which kind of seem to be in abeyance. Can we have one of those to maintain? And he took me around to various of these and said, here's the problem with this one, here's where this one has certain promise, and why don't you use this one? Well, it turned out the two that we were thinking about were actually park board territory, so we didn't use that one. And then Les came back and said, hey, we're doing this thing called Living Laboratory, you should apply for it. So we did, we applied for it, and the Living Laboratory Committee awarded us the ability to be able to do it here because some of the people, at least one of the members of that committee resides in Rapson, and said, why don't you do it right here? And because there had been a plan for the space since the start of Rapson that never came to fruition to this point. So they said, go ahead and do your rain garden here, and we did, and partnered with Metro Blooms. And then all the real hard work started, where in the class they thought about design, they thought about acquisition, all of those things, and all the logistics that goes into actually producing something like this.
We successfully got the garden here, and you know, when we started planting it, the plants were like little, I mean, in less than a year, they've grown to be, you know, 4 or 5 feet, and some of them are going to get up to be 9 to 12 feet. It's a great conversation starter. We were just noticing as the campus tour was going around that they were mentioning living laboratories and what goes on here. So it's kind of a cool piece that gets to communicate to students on campus. When I tell my friends about it, they always know where this is because it's such a unique looking space compared to what the rest of the campus looks like.
The nice thing about rain gardens is they give you sort of immediate payoffs. We know that all the water running off of here is going there, being filtered, and all this water that we send to the Mississippi River, stormwater runoff, that at least this section of it is much, much cleaner now. And that I'd like to see, what real success would be is if this goes viral and we do this in several places on campus. Given how facilities has reacted to it and others, it seems like that's a real possibility. So I think there's even more success to come beyond seeing the butterflies and birds and everything that's supposed to take advantage of it and everything we know it's doing for soil and water.
If people want to get involved with rain gardens, Mark mentioned Blue Thumb, so if you go to metroblooms.org, there's a lot of volunteer opportunities to help install rain gardens in different areas. They're all over St. Paul and Minneapolis metro areas. So people have taken church parking lots and turned them into rain gardens, different things like that. You don't have to be a property owner or have the access that Mark has to be able to be involved with rain gardens. You can volunteer anyway.